The sun had barely risen when David's alarm began to ring. Beep, beep, beep. He opened one eye, groaned, and slammed his hand down on the clock. 5 more minutes, he mumbled. 5 minutes turned into 30. 30 minutes turned into missing his morning study time again. David was a young man with a dream. He wanted to become a doctor, not just because it was a respected profession, but because he had seen his mother cry helplessly when his younger brother fell sick one night. They lived in a small town, miles away from a proper hospital. His brother survived, but that night changed David forever. He promised himself, "One day, I'll be a doctor. I'll help people like my brother. I'll make sure no one's mother has to cry like mine did." But dreams alone aren't enough. David had passion, but he lacked discipline. Every morning, David told himself he'd study for 10 hours. Every night, he'd realize he'd barely done 2. He'd wake up late, scroll through social media, and watch motivational videos for hours, ironically, about focus and success. He'd feel inspired for a moment, then waste another hour doing nothing. His desk was messy. His notebooks were half empty. His goals were clear, but his actions were scattered. One evening, his father walked into his room and sighed. "David," he said softly, "you keep talking about becoming a doctor, but your actions don't match your words." David frowned. "Dad, I'm trying." "No, son," his father replied gently, "you're wishing." Those words hit hard. For the first time, David realized something painful. He was busy convincing himself that he was working hard, but in reality, he was hiding behind excuses. That night, he looked at himself in the mirror and whispered, "Am I really giving my best? Or am I lying to myself?" Weeks passed, and David's mock exam results came out. He had failed again. He looked at the score sheet and felt his heart sink. His friends had done well. Some were already preparing for interviews. And him? He wasn't even close. He walked home silently that day. When he reached, he saw his mother waiting at the door. She smiled when she saw him, but he couldn't meet her eyes. She didn't ask about the results. She didn't need to. Mothers always know. That night, David went for a walk. The streets were quiet. The lamps flickered dimly. He walked past the same clinic where his brother had once been treated. He stood there, remembering the crying, the fear, the helplessness. He looked up at the night sky and said, "I can't live like this anymore. I'm done being lazy. I'm done making excuses. If I want to be a doctor, I'll need to think like one, act like one, and live like one." That night became the turning point of his life. He didn't just decide to work harder. He decided to discipline his mind. The next morning, David woke up at 5 a.m. He didn't hit the snooze button. He didn't reach for his phone. He just sat up, rubbed his eyes, and whispered, one step at a time. The first few days were torture. His body wanted rest. His mind screamed for distractions. His fingers itched to open his phone. But every time that urge came, David asked himself one question. Will this help me reach my goal? If the answer was no, he didn't do it. Slowly, the chaos in his mind began to quiet down. He began to focus, not for 5 minutes, but for hours. He created a schedule and followed it strictly. Study, exercise, eat, rest, repeat. He stopped wasting time on people who didn't believe in him. He stopped comparing his journey with others. He started competing with himself. Each night before sleeping, he'd write down his progress and whisper, "Tomorrow, I'll be better." Months passed, and David had made incredible progress. He could now study 10 hours a day with full concentration. His confidence was back. His vision was clear. But life, as always, wanted to test him. One afternoon, his friends invited him to a trip. "Come on, bro," they said. "You deserve a break. You've been studying too much." David hesitated. He wanted to go. He missed hanging out, laughing, having fun. But he looked at his calendar. His exam was only 60 days away. He smiled and said, "You guys go. I'll celebrate after I earn it." His friends laughed. Man, you've changed. Yes, he had. He wasn't just chasing a dream anymore. He was becoming the kind of person who achieves dreams. That's what discipline does. It changes you from the inside out. It doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. Every morning now began the same way. David would wake up early, meditate for 5 minutes, and repeat his affirmation. I control my mind. My mind does not control me. He visualized himself wearing the white coat, stethoscope around his neck, saving lives. He imagined his parents watching proudly. Those mental pictures became his fuel. Whenever he felt tired, he'd close his eyes and remember why he started. He realized something powerful. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about commitment to your future self. Every time he said no to distractions, he was saying yes to his dreams. Finally, the day came. The medical entrance exam. David sat in the exam hall, heart pounding, palms sweating. He looked around. Everyone seemed nervous. But David was calm. He smiled slightly. He whispered to himself, "You've done your part. Now trust the process." For 3 long hours, he gave it his all. When he walked out, he felt light, as if a mountain had lifted off his shoulders. For the first time in years, he was proud of himself, not because of what he had achieved, but because of who he had become. Weeks later, the results came. David opened the website, hands trembling. He typed his roll number and waited. Loading. Then it appeared. Congratulations. You have been selected for admission. Tears filled his eyes. His mother screamed with joy. His father hugged him tightly. He had done it, not just because he studied hard, but because he had learned the art of mastering his mind. Years later, David became a successful doctor. He treated hundreds of patients and inspired thousands of students. Whenever someone asked him the secret of his success, he smiled and said, "Your biggest battle is not with the world, it's with your own mind. The moment you win that battle, the world bows down to you." He would pause and continue. Focus, discipline, and consistency. These are your greatest weapons. Because success is not built in a day. It's built every day. Maybe you're like David. Maybe you have a dream, but your focus keeps breaking. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. You scroll, you procrastinate, you delay. But deep inside, you know you're made for more. So today, right now, make a decision. Discipline your mind. Focus on your goal. Be the kind of person your future self will thank. Remember, the world doesn't reward those who wish. It rewards those who work. If David could do it, you can too. Your time is now. Don't wait for motivation. Build discipline. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes unstoppable. And when your heart burns with purpose, no obstacle can hold you back. If you were inspired by this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your journey begins with one decision. Discipline your mind. Follow your goal. Create your destiny.